My name is Justin Campbell, and I'm representing Hero Studios today. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about our iPhone app. It's called Photorials. It's an app that's going to help out amateur photographers take pictures. This is just a goal that we created with Kyle Bone, our sponsor. He wanted an app to help people with their cameras. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about it. So what is it? Basically, it's an intuitive teaching device that shows you how to take a well-composed photo without having to read instructions. You're drunk at the bar, you're trying to get some photos with your friends, you're not going to read instructions, and plus you're trying to see all the ladies out there. So you just want to pick it up and use it, and it's just easy to use. You click it, it has an overlay, it's going to show you what to do. So why did we choose the iPhone? We chose the iPhone because it's the most used camera on Flickr. It even outranks digital cameras such as the Canon. So that obviously means that people are posting iPhone pictures more than other pictures. And Flickr is one of the largest video picture sharing websites. It has over 6 billion images on there. So that's why we chose the iPhone. Our hypothesis is that using Photorials, our iPhone app, that the aesthetic quality that photographers take will increase. So we think that users that don't have photography experience will be able to take well-composed photos using our app. So what is our research question? We just wanted to figure out, as I said earlier, how will the use of graphical overlays in the Photorials iPhone app affect the aesthetic value of photographs? So this is just saying, when you use our app, based on the standards of composition, do you take a better composed picture, whether it's a landscape, or if it's a person, or if it's a group of people? So here we have a little example of composition. Our main rule we're using is a rule of thirds. And as you can see here, it's that grid. You want your main subject to intersect the grid line, so you can see the person throwing the soccer ball in is intersecting that grid line on the left. And you can also use the top and bottom horizontal lines to place the horizon if you're taking a landscape photograph. So we have multiple overlays, but our main ones are portrait and landscape. And in this one, her eyes are lined up with where the grid would intersect on the top. And also her face is in frame. You're not cutting off any of her chin, and you're not cutting off the side of her ears. So eye alignment and getting the face into the frame is very important. So that's how we created this overlay here. The grid's not on here, but the eyes do intersect where the grid comes across. And also, you can see the face is in frame. You can get the whole head, top and the bottom. And we also have some shoulders. And the use of space is proper composition with the golden rule and the golden ratio. So here's our final overlay on a person. You can see that her head is in the frame, her eyes line up with the rule of thirds, and that her body is also captured partly here. But an important thing is to make sure that her face is not too scrunched. There's a lot of portrait pictures where people will cut off the top of the face. So when you use our app, you line it up like this, it'll get everything you need into the picture. So here's an example of our landscape overlay. To make it easier for people that are taking pictures that don't know how to use the rule of thirds, we took off the rest of the grid lines except for the one you need. You can see this is a ground dominant photograph. So we only have the top line from the rule of thirds, and then this is a little bit darker so that you can see that you're trying to frame the ground in here. And the ground is the bottom 2/3. And this one, the sky is the top 2/3 because it's a sky dominant photograph. So just like the other landscape, we took off the other lines except for this one. And it's very obvious. I mean, it says horizon here, and it shows you exactly what you need to capture. This is our final standard overlay. We also want to allow people to take landscapes with a person in it, maybe like a landmark. So you can place the horizon here if you want a sky dominant, or up there if you want a ground dominant photograph. And then this overlay still conforms to all the rule of thirds, so you'll get the whole person's face in, the eyes will be aligned correctly. You can align that right or left. And now I'm going to talk to you guys about our testing. For our testing, we're going to be doing a between two pairs test. That's because we want to compare people who use our iPhone app and people who don't use our iPhone app. So we're going to have two groups. And the response variable is going to be the rating of the photographs. The photographs will be rated by a photography professor. We're going to do a little pretest to see what kind of people we are getting. Because like I said, we want to see if they're good photographers or amateur photographers and compare those results. So we have a small survey that we're going to be giving. And I just ask people about their photography experience so we can see how the different groups vary. Our methods, as I said before, is two groups. Our control group is going to be using nothing. They're just going to be taking a picture with an iPhone, and that's to see if it improves over nothing, which hopefully it will based on our hypothesis. And our test group is going to use our application, and we're going to hope that using our application that they will make a better photograph that's well composed. and we're going to be testing on portraits and landscapes. Our test subjects are Purdue students because we want to cover a wide area of people in different majors, engineers, people in graphic majors, people in English. We just want to cover people that have different mindsets and different thinking. So we're going to be testing students, and we're going to be doing men and women. We don't want any biases. Maybe men take pictures a certain way, maybe women take pictures a certain way. So we're going to be testing men and women. And our results will be looked at by Lynn Lee. She's a professor in the School of Photography. She's going to be looking at our photographs after we're done, and she's going to be rating them. But we don't just want her to rate them based on maybe she has a certain likeness to certain types of photos. She's going to be making a rubric for us first and then grading the pictures. On top of these overlays that are kind of simple and basic, you saw the portrait and the landscape. We also wanted to offer users a way to recreate some classical compositions. It's just like Leonardo's work here and Rembrandt's work. So we have some overlays that mimic these compositions if you want to recreate a classical photograph. Here's just some examples. This is the Mona Lisa right here. You can see it's very easy to do. You just line it up. There's the farmer and his wife, and we kept some of the objects from the original. So if you want to create exactly how it was, you can. It even has the same clothes. The eyes are lined up how the artist had them, and the composition and the sizing is exactly the same. We've got two more I'm going to show you here. You can see here we've got the book, the desk, and the pipe. This is exactly how the photograph was, and it's the same scale. Like I said, the eyes are in the same placement. In this photograph here, the woman has on all the same clothing, so if you wanted to recreate that exactly, you could. These are just extra options for those photographers who want to spice up their photos a little bit. And that concludes my presentation.